Are we ready to rock and roll? Hello. Hi, Irene. Hi, Andrew. Lurking in the background, totally cool. Thank you so much for joining me. So, what's happening today is that, and I have tried to do this quite a few times, and I want to let you know that it's not complete, this process. And so I'm thinking that next week I'm going to be doing a slideshow of a lot of the stuff that I saw on Instagram, and I want to talk about that as well too, as well as give my final verdict for the tarot. But what I'm going to do today is the best I can do for today as far as the mix up of the deck. Mixtress Rae, along with another Instagrammer, what they did with the deck. I am back. I'm not sure what's going on with my internet connection. I'm sorry, everybody. I hope that you can hear me now. Restarting, and I'll do my best to re-edit this live broadcast for those that are watching it in the playback. If you can just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, that would be amazing. I'd appreciate it. Okay. Just give me 2 seconds while I set up my other camera. And one of the things I want to ask you is this. After spending this many weeks looking at the tarot deck, has your opinion changed? Are you inclined to use this deck more or less than you were a few weeks ago? Do you love this deck? Is this a deck that that you would recommend, or you would have on your reading table? So I'm really interested, because next week I'm going to, kind of give my final impressions of the deck, and I'm just curious how all of you are doing with that. And let's hope the internet holds out. I am hardwired, so we should be good to go. Okay. All right. So let's begin. Let us begin. And I'm going to tell you why I have not drawn on my cards, because for numerous reasons. But this is the card that I have chosen for the Fool. And the reason that I've chosen this card as the Fool, so in case you missed the beginning, what I've done is reordered the deck, reimagined the deck, and I'm going to go through the deck in this new order. I love the idea of this little bug on the water, beginning this journey in complete trust. And the fact that it's kind of a volatile, the boat is not that sturdy, and there's this sense of recklessness to the Fool, but there's also this wonderful sense of adventure. And this card has the light in the background. I feel it's really optimistic. We don't know what is downriver. We don't know if there is a waterfall, what is there. And so this is the card I've chosen for the Fool. I always thought it would make such a beautiful Fool card, and so yeah, so that's what I'm going to go with for the Fool. Let me know if you have done this challenge yourself, okay? And if you haven't seen Mixtress Rae's rendition, I highly recommend it. I went with this card for the Emperor, and the reason I like this, the Magician. The reason that I like this card for the Magician has to do mainly with the hands. And Sharon gave up. And I feel like there is an integration of a lot of different things going on here. And if you can imagine a magician at a show, perhaps, where he's got the bird in the hat, there are witnesses to his performance. We can see in all directions around whatever the magician is doing. So whether this is a magician who is performing on stage, or this is one who is working, doing energy work and so forth. I've always thought I love magician cards with hands, and when I saw this card, it really made me think about that. And the one thing that I find really interesting is that couple that's in the background underneath the hands. Are they the audience? Are they somebody who has volunteered to be on stage? So yeah, and I have a few other ones that could have gone here, but I'm going to just stick for now for this one for the magician card. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck, and the art piece is called Between the Sun and Moon. And here we have the High Priestess. And this, I think this is such a perfect High Priestess card because here we have the two pillars. We have the sun and the moon. So we have the black pillar and the white pillar. And we have this, to me, this is just such a stunning, stunning painting. I love the jewelry on the third eye, the way that we're looking into her eyes. And I can't think of a more perfect High Priestess card than this one in this deck. She has that little creature on her head. She's able to communicate with animals. And yeah, I really like this card. I find this card mesmerizing. For the Empress, I chose this. Now, I showed you the larger painting that this card came from. But if we look at this card in isolation, I see a few different things here. One is I see the red. So one of the things is the red color of the hair. And when I'm looking at Empress card, I want to feel that creative, inspired energy because this number 3 major arcana card is definitely going to be connected to the other threes, the triangulation of the threes, the creativity of the threes, and so forth. And so just her general nature. Now she's sitting quietly, could be sitting upon a throne like empresses tend to do. She is connecting with nature. There is beauty around her. I love the way the ribbons are free flowing and so forth. And yeah, so I chose her kind of by default, but I'm okay with her as the Empress. Okay. And then here we have the Emperor, and they're not looking at each other. I feel that this particular owl commands something. He commands attention. And he has gone out into his empire and he has brought back and he's providing for the family. He has the snake, which I'm assuming is dinner. There's also a sense of things that have been created here. You know, we have some artificial, it's a very bizarre painting. Like if you look inside the owl, you can see some metallic things and so forth. But of all of the cards in the deck, I feel that this particular card is regal, right? It has that regal energy, the wisdom that is required for the emperor. And if you think about an emperor card like the one that's in the Marielle, you know, I feel there's and he's upon his throne, and he commands a certain presence. So this is what I went with for the emperor. Sorry, did I miss one here? Empress, Emperor. I didn't change the lovers, so I'm missing the Hierophant. I am missing the Hierophant. 3. I'm missing the Hierophant, and I know which one was supposed to be the Hierophant, and I hope I didn't reassign it. And the Hierophant is the other owl. There we go. Here's the Hierophant. If you look at this card and imagine the figure in the foreground as one of the supplicants, I think this works. I also think this works when we're looking at parroting things without thinking. And the fact that she has that, the beak, that mask on her head that perhaps is going to be pulled down. There's something about that. I feel she's a little bit being controlled, maybe not original thought from the person in the foreground. And so and again, I like the idea of an owl for the Hierophant. Yeah, so and then I didn't change the Lovers card. I don't think there is another card in the deck that would work for the Lovers. The the beauty of the Radha Krishna energy works perfectly for here, so I left the Lovers card where it was. 7. 7. Okay. This is the thank you, Andrew. This is the Chariot card. And in the energy of the Chariot, I feel there's this strong sense of going forth, right? Strong sense of going forth. And I really like this card. It's one of his earlier paintings. And I can see that almost as if she is moving with the energy of the ants and the bees or the wasps. So this really works for me. There's an assertiveness here. There's a power. There's a standing in her own strength to go forward. So this is why I chose this one for the Chariot. Yeah, I can feel the movement in this card. And Andrew says perhaps even a Knight of Swords energy. Yeah. So there's a determination for me in this card, as well as like she's not wrestling with the animals. And if you think about whether there's sphinxes or horses or um, whatever the animals are that are on the Chariot, I think the idea is those are internal aspects of oneself. And I love the way that there's no struggle in traveling with the insects. This to me is a very natural strength card. There is a deep sense of love and connection between the bird on the right and the woman on the left. I feel as if they are one. This card, while there's a few things that throughout the whole deck, there's a few things that don't sit well with me, but I feel like this is a deep love and respect for all beings, and I'm really I'm okay with this as the Strength card. She feels they each they each are better because of each other, and I never really thought of the Strength card. And I have another thought about this. With some of the images in this deck, I feel like women's power, the power of has been taken away. And this one, I feel like strength has been regained. Yeah. Okay. Hermit. So the Hermit in this card is the person that is in the heart or that is underneath the cat. And if you look at the cat as the mystical being, and I suppose the cat could be the hermit as well too, but I feel as if the retreat of the hermit, a lot of the time I'm thinking about, okay, yeah, I need to go back to the ashram, or wouldn't it be great to take a pilgrimage and so forth. There's also, if you look in this card, this person has a stave as well too, like has a walking stick. And so to me, this is a really interesting conversation into the energy of the hermit and what is required to commit to that as a pilgrimage or as a journey. Like what does it take to go out on a pilgrimage? And there's a real interesting dynamic between the human that is hidden within the cat and the cat itself. So yeah, so that's why I put that one there. This card with that circle and the broken circle and the keys that can also represent the directions. The fact that the birds are moving and there's a conversation going on here. I put this as the wheel. The previous wheel card, of course, was this one. And for me, the wheel represents change. And sometimes when things disintegrate, when things are broken, that is when it is time to go forward. And so there was something about this card as the wheel that works for me. It's almost as if the one of the birds wants to stay, another one is saying, let's go, let's leave this behind. Things disintegrate, they erode. Change is a reality, and if we can accept change and move forward, then life just flows as it will. So that's what I put for the wheel. Believe me, by no means is this perfect, but this is the best I could do for today. I chose this one as the Justice card. He is holding scales, and I really like the little bird on his head. It's almost as if he is listening to source, or communicating energy from source into the human. The human looks quite stern, much like a judge. And so there's something about that feels right. Also the robes look a little bit judgy to me. Like something like a judge would wear. What else about this card? Why would I put this as judgment? So karmic judgment. Sometimes part of the process of things coming into balance has to do with being more aware of messages and so forth. And so there's something about that little bird in the head that definitely works for me. Yeah. Again, not perfect, but it'll do. So that's 11, 12. Now I had a difficult time with the Hanged Man card. I had a couple of thoughts about this one. This is one of them. The Hanged Man for me is a card about perspective. It's a card of taking time to view things from a different lens, quite literally turning your life upside down, turning your physical body upside down. And so this one was one of a couple of cards that I thought might work for this one. There's a couple, and I'll show you when I get to them, because they have been repurposed as well too. I definitely haven't done all 78 cards. This was a very, very difficult challenge. The perspective of the little bird is quite different from the perspective of the human. The human is paying attention and considering. I know some people see this person as frightened, but I see this person as really listening and paying attention and taking on something new. Yeah. Okay, so that was Hanged Man. Death. To me, death and rebirth. I love the way that the bird is emerging from this skull. And so in this particular card, we see death and we see emergence. And I know this isn't a little tiny bird, but I'm imagining that that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing a contrast between death and rebirth. Yeah. And again, embracing death as part of the cycle. So yeah. Okay. Number 14, Temperance. This is a really pretty card. I feel the Temperance as a healing energy. This card works really well. Just one thing I need to do here. So the healing energy, I feel a sense of healing energy and peace in this card. And so that's why I chose this one for Temperance. Are there other cards that work for temperance? Are there cards that show a balance of water and fire? Not too many, not too many in this deck, but this is it felt very peaceful. It felt like regaining a sense of balance in this card. And then I didn't change the devil card. I left this. I think it's very well done as a devil card, viewing life through masks and different perspectives. So that's I left that there. This one definitely works. It's a little, I still haven't got around the fact that perhaps what we're looking at here on the right is the body of the cat and the head of the cat is down on the ground. That feels a little odd to me, but we did talk about this card in quite a bit of detail, so I won't belabor it, but it's okay. It works. I left the Tower as well too. 17, 18. The Star. So let's look at Temperance and the Star together. Temperance. These two cards have a really interesting relationship for me. And I like when, I guess I suppose I should put them this way. So this is the one I put as Temperance, and this one as the Star. I like a deck that shows a relationship between these two cards. Temperance I see as it's an active energy where we learn to shift things in our life so that we feel more healthy, we feel healthier, life is in greater balance. There's a deepening. In this one too, I feel like there's a peace, there's a harmony that has come with connecting with nature and perhaps the medicine of the plants as well too. And then in the card on the right, which I've chosen for the Star, it's almost as if she is emerging. And the symbol of the bride is one of purity as well too. And often I see the Star card as one of purification and purity. And it is a new beginning and a fresh start. So I think these two work as a pair for Temperance and the Star. Of course, I did not change the Moon and the Sun. These are really beautiful cards. Yeah. Okay, and then Moon, Sun, and then we have Judgment and the World. And so let me explain what I did with Judgment and the World. So look at these cards as part of a story. Part of a story. And in the World card on the right, she is embracing all of life's experiences. There is some kind of a serpent down below that has become part of her life. Her vehicle for the horse has definitely been damaged and weathered by life's experiences. Yet they both carry on. You know, there's a peace and a harmony. I find like in this deck, a lot of the cards travel left. I don't know if you noticed that. A lot of them, almost all of them travel to the left. There is in the Judgment card, which is this one here, I feel like the transformation aspect of Judgment, I feel like she is emerging from the cocoon here. She is about to rise up and unfold. I can almost see the movement, like if you imagine the action, the movement of this card. So I think these two work really well as in sequence with each other, Judgment and the World. Okay. So that was my attempt at the major arcana. And as you are aware, in this deck, Cups is the suit that comes next. Okay, so here's what I did for the suit of Cups. Okay. Let me know what you think so far. You guys are really quiet in the quiet in the chat. I always thought this was a beautiful Ace of Cups, and I know other people have chosen this one for Ace of Cups as well too. It's kind of obvious. There's the potential here, the potential for growth with the snake, the potential for transformation, for enlightenment, with the perhaps with the snake, the Kundalini rising. This just makes so much sense for an Ace of Cups. So I think this one is pretty much a no-brainer for that one. Two of Cups. We have a lot of cards in this deck where we see beautiful connections. And I feel as if the card I chose for the strength could also go here as well too. And so for strength, I chose, do you remember which one it was? This one. I feel like either of these cards work for two of Cups. To me, two of Cups is about seeing yourself in another. And one of the reasons this one works even better for me is because of the hand. The hand is connected to the heart. And I just thought of another one this might work for. This card might also work for the Six of Pentacles as well too. So if the hand represents the heart, it's almost as if there's that heartfelt connection between the bird and the human. There is a peaceful relationship between them. I don't see the bird as tied to the human. I don't know if, to me, this almost looks as if the string you tie around your finger to remember something. Yeah, so anyway, so that's what I chose for the Two of Cups. Three of Cups. I think this one is obvious. Three of Cups. The connection of the three birds. And do you see, I wonder if he's feeding, or are they communicating, or are they feeding? There's just something really natural for this one to be a Three of Cups card. So I don't think I need to say more on that. Okay, Four of Cups. I always felt that this particular face, this figure, was a little bit indifferent to the beauty of what was around her. That absolutely gorgeous lotus, rose, whatever flower you want to see it as, that is in the foreground. She doesn't seem to be paying attention to the beauty of her surroundings. She's sitting on the bridge, very relaxed. The bridge is holding her up, much like the tree holds up the human in many Four of Cups cards. Am I on the right? Yes, Four of Cups cards. And so I just wonder why she's not paying attention to the beauty that surrounds her. Yeah. Five of Cups. I think this one is pretty obvious for Five of Cups. I feel like this person has been drowned in their sorrow, and the obvious choice here is to put your hands over your head and float up to the surface and so forth. So yeah, I like this one for Five of Cups. I was very surprised that this card was a pentacle. So this is where I put this in the series of cups. Six of Cups. This, I feel, is childhood nostalgia, looking back to the past where we got to play dress up. Life was simpler, but it also has this melancholy kind of feel to it. The plants are not thriving. And so when we look back to the past, sometimes our memories, sometimes when we look back, or even if we go back, things are never the same. And so we can see that things have changed here. Yeah, so this is Six of Cups. Now, why would I choose this card for the Seven of Cups? The Seven of Cups can take on a lot of lots of different energy. One would be one of dreaming and being in a dream world, using your imagination to help things grow. And this feels like if we can connect to our dreams, if we can connect to our fantasies, we have that power for anything. Like with the power of imagination, anything can happen. This is a really beautiful card. If you want to go in the direction of delusion or illusion, this works as well too. So this is Seven of Cups. Eight of Cups. Why? I think in the Eight of Cups, there's always something quite painful that may need to be left behind. And I see this bird as their wings are in an upward direction, and the things that are being left behind are quite complicated. It's quite involved. They're old. They've been around for a long time. And the skull as a symbol of a cup works really well. And so the bird here is flying off on the next leg of their journey. There's a softness as well too to this card for sure. So this is Eight of Cups. Nine of Cups. So I'm looking at the hands in prayer, and prayer or gratitude. There's also a sense of connection for all that we have. I feel love in that card. Now, is the bird again tied to the human, or is I don't know. I don't feel that there's a grasping here. There's a key, and one thing I haven't done is look at all the key cards, and maybe next week I will remember to do that, because I would love to pull out the key cards and kind of dissect what that means. But so this is, I put, and if you want to look at this as the wish, sometimes we use that gesture for the wish. And then I left the 10 of Cups as it is. This was kind of hard to complete this suit. There's a sense of fulfillment in 10 of Cups. And if you contrast this card with this card here, we are emerging from the cup. So that's why I put these two together. So I hope that works for you. Let me know how you're doing with this. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't see this whole image. And this particular page, so this is the Page of Cups, she is on and riding on the mast of a boat. And down below here in the painting, there is a boat. And so the reason I think this makes such a great Page of Cups is that she's using her imagination. She's using her imagination, and she's off on a grand adventure. Yeah. On her boat, on her pretend boat. And then the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups, a bit of a romantic. I don't know, because I haven't finished. And Andrew, I'm looking at, I haven't finished, and the Suit of Pentacles is not complete, so I might have to switch some things around. So this is this is the first kick at the can, so to speak. As complete as I can get for today. So this is the Knight of Cups. And he is looking back nostalgically over his shoulder. And you'll see that in a lot of Knight of Cup cards, that the Knight is kind of reflecting, looking back, and then going forward. So this one definitely to me is not a King of Cups. He's a Knight. This one to me is a no-brainer for the Queen of Cups. She is so beautifully connected. She's in the water, and I don't know what in the world she's doing, whether she's weaving magic with the crow or she's playing in the water with the bird, but I love this for the Queen of Cups. And I get why it could work for this is originally the Fire Queen, right? The Queen of Wands, but so she's my Queen of Cups. And this one, really interesting. So why is this the King of Hearts? The King of Hearts is sitting on a heart. The King of Hearts is sitting on a heart. And I think there's something kind of powerful here. He also finds energy in coming back and connecting to that heart. There's something really deep here, and I don't feel like putting this as a four. What was this? Four of Pentacles. Does the artwork justice at all? I think this card has so much more potential, and this is definitely one that I would love to discuss more. So that's my King of Cups. I think the King of Cups has a challenging time with feelings and diving into, issues and having heart-to-heart conversations. And so the fact that he's sitting on a heart is really kind of is something. Yeah. All right. And then we go to swords. Then we go to swords. Okay. Need a drink of water. Okay, I'm going to do the swords, and then that I'll conclude for today. I have completed the wands, and I have not been able to finish the pentacles because I've run out of cards. So this is the Ace of Swords. And to me, there is something about what is emerging from the lips, what is emerging from the mouth. The bird, the connection with the voice. So I like this. I like this as the Ace of Swords. Two of Swords. So Two of Swords can be about challenging decisions. It can be about, this has been a very hard card for me in this deck, and this is one of the reasons I put the deck away for a long time. And these birds here, this one bird has the pin of a grenade in its mouth, and the pin has been removed from the grenade, and the grenade obviously hasn't exploded, so the birds are safe. But I think this card really speaks to the importance of discernment. And if there is a card in the tarot about discernment, I think the Two of Swords is a pretty important one. So that's why I put that one there. Three of Swords. So let's think of the Three of Swords as triangulation of thought, triangulation of voice. And imagine these three little kitties, the voices, the mewing of these three little kitties in your head. In your head. And, sometimes, there's so many reasons why this might work as a Three of Swords. What happens when so that's one thought. If we go to the whole idea of grief that is often associated with this card, I think the mask works really well, because sometimes in grief and during the process of grief, we are not able to express well, or maybe we need the mask to help us find our voice. There's something about this, I don't know, again, this is another very powerful card that I feel could be discussed for hours and hours. And there's also a sense of comfort as well, too, with these three little kitties around perhaps their favorite human as well too. So this is one option for Three of Swords. Four of Swords. This is one of my favorite paintings in the deck. I love this one. And I think through the tribulations of the Suit of Swords, we do need a card of integration and a card of rest. And this is so beautiful because this human is resting in nature and fully supported. I feel like she's receiving the medicine of the birds. And if you think about a Four of Swords and the beautiful art in the stained glass window, think about the beauty of the red birds and so forth. I think this works really beautifully as a Four of Swords. Yeah. Five of Swords. I did not change. I don't like this card. Six of Swords. Here is another card where we do not see the whole picture. These women are on a boat. You can kind of get a sense of that. And they are leaving the storm, and I feel like they're moving towards us. So this is my Six of Swords. And they are kind of holding on to each other for dear life, you know? This is just so not a Two of Cups card. Oh dear. Okay, Six of Swords, Seven of Swords. Taking something, this is such a, I have a very hard time with this card. So there's, whether it's a bee's nest, a hornet's nest, whatever that bird, and it's funny because that bird is not in flight. That bird is standing still. So this makes this card even weirder. Maybe they have landed. They have taken the bit of the nest, flown away and landed here. For some reason, they feel entitled to have taken this bit of hornet's nest. Maybe it was a dead piece of hornet's nest and they are reusing it for their own nest. And then look at the ribbon here. This was a Cups card, right? But there's something about these ribbons and the voice. And this is something else that I could spend many, many more hours looking at, is all these ribbons and how the creator has used these ribbons. But I feel like here I want to talk about the voice. And right, this is taking something that isn't yours, or maybe there's a reason that resource is really important to you. So yeah, I'd like to work with this as a Seven of Swords. Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords. Yeah. Eight of Swords is such a tricky card. And to me, the depression, the clouds here are overwhelming. They really are overwhelming. And the flowers are at the end of their life. And yet this woman is looking up. She's looking up. She's looking up to the sky. And her hands are in prayer, perhaps. And so she knows there is a way out. She knows there is a way out. And so I wanted to have these two cards together as the Eight and Nine of Swords. There's something really interesting here. It's almost as if there's a relationship between whatever this is and these flowers down here. Do you see that? And I think as an Eight and Nine of Swords, there's something here that is, and I think either one could be the Eight and the Nine of Swords. Yeah. Ten of Swords. What is Ten of Swords? Ten of Swords is the completion right, of the suit of swords. There is a rising up to the next stage, the next level. And for me, more than anything, the death of the ego. And I wanted to have a skull in this particular card. The harpy might not be the right choice, but the wings are spread and the harpy is ready to fly on and to move on. And again, she's looking over her left shoulder, which we see a lot in this deck. And the movement is to the right. So yeah, so this is what I chose for the 10 of swords. And this is the page and the knight. Page and knight of swords. Page and knight of swords. And it's almost as if the unicorn has that antenna, right? And that connection to spirit. And the way that that knight is leaning in, I really feel this is it's a really powerful knight of swords connecting to spirit. So that's page and knight of swords. And queen and king of swords. She has her fingers to her temples, almost as if she's telepathically sending a message. And I can hear the screeching of the owl in the king of swords. And he is fearless and ferocious in his communication. And I wonder if there's some sort of urgency with the way that he responds and reacts. And I find the King of Swords in shadow to be quite reactive. And yeah, so there's your Queen on the left and King of Swords. Okay. All right. So I reserve. I'm waiting for you to respond. I don't know if anybody's still here because when the videos are private, I don't get to see how many people are watching other than if you comment. So I reserve the right to shift a few cards around. And next week, I will share with you the other two suits. And how about if I pull out all the key cards next week and we can have a look at those as well, too. Okay. Irene is still here. Okay. So thanks for watching. And I think Irene said she hasn't actually bought the deck. I don't actually have it and was considering here. I just wanted to look at your comment. Okay. So you've decided it's not a good fit. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, I will see some of you at 6 o'clock in the Facebook group. Otherwise, I'll be back on Friday. And Friday, I'm going to have to shift my time. I'll try to get that thumbnail up ASAP so you know when I'll be on Friday. Thanks very much, everybody. Namaste.